In this week's dessert, we're going to talk about the Wallabies locks. So we've got a fantastic graphic, which I'm sure if it hasn't hit your Twitter feed yet, will shortly, with all of the kind of prospective players who are shaping up to, be in the picture for the Wallabies in 2023. Nels, I guess you made the image. Do you want to take us through kind of who we see as the options and the categories you put them in here?
I hate to be honest, there's a lot. We had an and ah about who we put into this graphic. I've broken it into three categories: the muss or the muscle, and that's Isaac Rodder and Skelton making his way back over. The best tight head, the best right lock in the world. We've got the experience, and I mean, there's two brothers there, so they both can't fill the 4 jersey. We've got the more experienced Rory Arnold, who isn't even playing rugby at the moment. And we've got Richie Arnold, who
he's making trucks, remember? He's making high-no trucks right now.
He's making high-no trucks.
I hear he's crushing it.
He is doing it well, by all reports. And Matt Phillip there in the 5 jersey. And then we've got the Brums, and that's Frost and Caden Neville. And this, I mean, that's not a bad partnership as well, with experience there together.
Yeah, I want
to say, first point from me is that Isaac Rodder is gigantic, and I forgot how gigantic he was. But I think he looks so slow and unfit at the moment, and they're still managing his minutes. I think he's a long way away from being back to his peak fitness. And if you got Will Skelton, as Eddie says, the best number 5 in the world, I just can't see how they could possibly pick Isaac Rodder as well.
I think if Rodder had a tough time under the tutelage of Brad Thorne and working hard under the Thorne regime, he's going to have something coming for him with Eddie. Eddie's not going to give him an easy time at all. So
did he?
What do you mean?
Yeah, he didn't sound like he liked him. I don't know if it was because he had time.
Isn't that why he left? He left because he had disagreements with Brad Thorne.
Because he wanted to be the captain and he wouldn't make him captain, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't because he was lazy, mate.
Okay, well, I want to go. I've said this 1,000 times, but you've got a picture of the 2 Arnolds. I still think for sure Eddie's going to pick an Arnold, because then you just sneak the other one into the country, and like I've said, you swap them at half time, and no one's none the wiser. You just got 2 players for the price of 1. Let's do it.
No-brainer.
Because the only thing is, like, looking at that photo of Richie, he doesn't look like Rory anymore. So they could have just destroyed our plans. Rory's taken a lot more into the head.
Harry, it'll happen. And they'll both have shaved heads and beards, and you won't be able to tell.
Now, speaking of, you're saying Rodder looking, like, first of all, I agree, he looked massive, but definitely slow. Speaking of someone not necessarily slow, but got to find his feet and refine his form, Matty Phillip. So he's come back from quite serious injury. He had a great week 2 weeks ago, looked like he was back, got really stuck into his work, lots of carries, lots of tackles, just lots of work rate. But he was very quiet again last week, just really didn't get very involved, which is, usually we've come to rely on him for consistency of high work rate, of just getting through the nitty gritty. And, generally more often than not like having massive shining moments like big tries and massive carries and that, but just getting through the volume of work. So I guess for him, it's going to be, can he get back up to that reliable, consistent volume of work? That is the reason why he would be in the Wallabies team. Otherwise, because he's a startup, he's generally not someone you want to bring off the bench. You know what I mean? He's not really I think I can go out to say Matt Phillips not really a point of difference type of lock.
I actually disagree. I reckon he'd be good when the game loosens up a little bit as a lock. And he's a bit like Frost in that he's got that athleticism.
Whoa, you're comparing athleticism of Frost to Phillip. I think they're 2 different kettle of fish. I think Frost is unique in that aspect of our Australian locks.
I think Phillips quite good around the paddock. I think for his size, I think he's quite mobile. No one, I think, really offers the speed of Frost in the world, I think, as a lock. So I think that's his point of difference and very unique. I think, to be honest, there's a chance we see the fastest lock in the world and the best right-hand lock in the world playing together. And then it's finding who you cover on the bench. And I mean, I think Matt Phillip offers a lot in both categories. I think he could be the perfect man for that role. Caden Neville, great scrummager. Rory Arnold not playing footy. Richie Arnold looks like Rory Arnold, and
that's not a positive, mate.
Mate, I'm
looks
saying
like another guy who's good.
Toulon built their pack around him. Yeah, no, he just looks like Rory. That's why we got him.
Look, the issue is we haven't seen him play 1 minute of international footy.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good player, but we have lots of options here, and I think experience is relevant in the Rugby World Cup, and I think that's something he's got going against him. Doesn't mean he can't get in there. I think he's a very good player, but we haven't seen enough of him, to be honest, in Australia. But it seems like a stretch at 32, something like that. He's going to make his debut, and it's going to be in a Rugby World Cup when we're going to try and win a World Cup in France. It seems like a stretch for me.
So I think, from what I just heard from what you said, Nels, I think I'm thinking the same way as you in that if I'm picking out of all these locks right now, I'm starting Frost and Skelton, and you're taking 4 locks on tour. So I'd say you're taking at the moment probably Neville and Phillip, and then you're deciding, you're taking Phillip for the work rate and perhaps a bit of a point of difference, and then Neville's just your stock standard serviceable does the job lock, and those are the 4 probably right now that I would be taking in the Wallabies squad. Is there anyone not pictured that we're missing? Any other locks that?
There's Lukan Salako-Lotto who's thrown his hat in the ring late by coming back. So he's obviously just signed in Australia. So he's definitely an option. But my worry for him is that his form was really quite poor when he left. And then the other man I'm going to say is, I don't know what Nelson's got there, Michael Hooper again maybe. I'm going to go with Harry Hawkins as well, who's just been crushing it in Japan. Looked fantastic in the Barbars versus World 15. I hope that we see the late rush from him and he signs for someone, but it's probably not going to happen.
The way he put his name onto the stage, I think, with Eddie watching in that Barbarians versus World 15 match, I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie's been on the phone to him saying, "Let's get you over here."
Yeah,
I agree. And look,
level.
Yeah, and in terms of other like young guns, probably not have done enough to get a look in yet, but players with the likes of Jeremy Williams, Josh Canham having massive seasons. For mine, Jeremy Williams has been fantastic, but Josh Canham's been unbelievable as far as I'm concerned.
I had him in my Australian team of the year, man. He's been awesome. I just think the only issue is he probably needs another year or two.
It's not in the World Cup year. You don't bring him out. Is that what we think?
Yeah.
I think it's. And Trevor Hosea, which Canham's been that good that Hosea's kind of fallen out of the picture. He can't get a start in that Rebels team now. So
I think form-wise, he's fallen away as well. I don't think it's just that Canham's jumped him. I think Canham's been very, very good. Don't take it away from him. But I don't think Hosea is in that good form himself. Another name we could throw in the ring is Holloway. I think he's probably going to be the Wallabies 6. There's a good chance, but maybe we do see a Hooper at 6. A Tom Hooper, and it then frees up Holloway to cover lock, whether it be on the bench or in the starting side as well.
That was going to be my question. Was I think a Holloway Hooper, Tom Hooper, we could expect to see. Wouldn't be surprised to see both or either of them. Definitely Jed Holloway, I think, in the Wallaby squad, but Hooper may be in there as well. And
let's not turn this into a back row chat. This is already the 2 hours.
True, we're drifting. But So Harry, are you in agreement with us that those are the 4?
100%. I surprisingly completely agree.
How good! Consensus has been reached. We'll submit our formal review to Eddie, and he can make his.
I'll write it on a notepad. You take a photo of my shoulder, and we'll put it up on Twitter.
Sounds like a plan.